I got Lieutenant Dan Colasanto here. What's going on, man?
How are you?
I am good. We were literally kicking off like TTPOA 2025 right now at the Kalahari Resort in Round Rock, Texas.
Yep.
And somehow I finagled you in when I saw you a couple months back. We can talk about that. To sitting on the show, and I'm stoked to have you here, man. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. It's the last time I was actually here with you guys, we actually sat on a little episode of the TTPOA podcast, which just got dropped a little while ago. And it was my first experience here at the conference. I'd never been to anything like that before, particularly on the law enforcement side of things. And what struck me was how professional I thought the conference was being run, because I've been to a lot of conferences for a lot of different things. The participation level was very high. And just the quality of people that were here and the conversations that I was able to have, not on air, but off air, were, like I said, I guess without overdoing it, I was impressed. And so when I sat down with you guys in the room, you and Brandon, we kind of started getting into it. One of the things I said was, I think you guys are going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah, we definitely need a bigger boat. We've exceeded last year by almost 150. When I left, last time I checked, we were at 860, maybe 870. So online registration stopped yesterday, but they can still walk in and register. So we're expecting probably about 900 with 220 vendors. We sold out of the ballroom. So my guys, I have a great conference committee and staff and people that on the organization that are just, we say it runs itself, but it doesn't. These guys work really hard throughout the year. And we ran out of space. Well, there's a barn. If you go downstairs, there's a barn that's like a party barn, outside the doors. It's maybe, 15 yards away. And they're like, hey, let's use the barn. I'm like, man, I don't know. What do you think? And then I'm like, well, here's the deal. We need to tell the vendors because they were like, whoever it was the ballroom's full. Right. Look, we have this space. It's not in the ballroom. It's about 15 yards away, and it's in the barn. You can go there, but just understand that you are not in the main section. But it's like a choice of, hey, you can come and go in here, or you can not come. Mm. So I don't know if we sold it out, but we got a lot of people in there too. So we are. We talked to the Kalahari guy yesterday. They're doing some stuff. They're doing some expansion, which is good because we're going to need every bit of it. We sold out of this hotel. We sold out of our overflow hotel, and now we're in a third hotel. So we definitely need a bigger boat. We have, I think, 111 classes, instructors from all over. So we kind of pride ourselves in bringing in, some really good instructors. So yeah, the list is long and distinguished, and I think just in terms of how the conference runs, it really gets started. People start coming in today. Yep. You and the folks behind the conference have been here a couple days, or at least got in yesterday on Monday. So now we're on a Tuesday. Wednesday, people start rolling in. There's the range day, right, where the vendors are out and folks are able to come out and kind of get their hands on some new stuff, talk to the vendors directly, shoot some guns, look through some optics, that kind of stuff. Then you get into 2 days, Thursday, Friday, of the vendor show, which is downstairs, which also surrounding that, there were some debriefs that are happening, some TAC talks that are happening. There's a banquet that happens. It's kind of a full tilt, go hard type of thing for 4 or 5 days. Yeah. So Wednesday is range day. We made it so that we were going to do a debrief Wednesday night, but there was just too much going on. So we have one for Thursday morning, so that guys can come in. We have TAC talks, like you said. That's something new, because after every conference, guys fill out critiques, and they'll tell us, hey, what did you like? What did you not like? As with everything, some of them are kind of ridiculous. So we don't really pay attention to some of the things. Because they just don't understand, like, hey, why don't we do this conference in San Antonio? Or why don't we do the conference here? And I'm like, well, because we don't have ranges. That's what they don't. Well, first of all, we have to have a hotel big enough for the vendor show. Mm-hmm. The vendor show drives the train. So even if we find a hotel that can accommodate that, now we have to find ranges that are close. Here, it's very accommodating. It's in the middle of the state. ranges are very close. We have venues, guys are I think the farthest they drive maybe is 45 minutes, which isn't bad.
Well, when you talk about like 111 instructors and all the training that would need to happen on Saturday and Sunday, not even including what we talked about on Wednesday, if you don't have that, you're not going to have a conference because probably one of the critiques you always get is let's train more, let's shoot more.
Yeah. So Wednesday, like you said, the range day, guys get to go out. They get to handle a myriad of guns. I mean, if you go to range day and you don't shoot, it's your fault. I mean, there's rifles, there's pistols, Staccatos out there. We have a side match. Staccatos are our range day sponsor. We have a side match that the money's going to the family of Cooper Dawson, who was killed in the line of duty from Greenville. The winner gets a gun, gets a Staccato. So that's really cool. So there's like you said, there's optics, everything that you want to put your hands on, you can put your hands on out there. And it's a little more relaxed, probably a little less congested, maybe. Well, it'll get congested, but it'll give you the chance to put, hey, I've been trying to buy this gun. Hey, well, there it is. You can go shoot it. You can, kind of do what you want. Then Thursday, we start with, there's a debrief in the morning. There's a debrief in the afternoon. The vendor show is kind of in the middle all day. That's where all the food and stuff is. So we really try to push people into the vendor show and the way it's set up so that, we support our vendors, because without them, this thing doesn't happen. So Friday's opening ceremony. We'll do a little, your formal stuff. We have to do it from our bylaws. We do treasurer's report. We do all the admin things that we have to do. And then I'd say hey, President says a few words. I don't talk very long because guys don't want to hear me talk. So it's a welcome. Hey, don't walk around the hotel with your rifle slung in the lobby when you're going to training. Please put them in a case. And they've been really good about that. But in other conferences and other places, it's been a thing. But
it's funny. I get that, because this is very family oriented.
Oh yeah.
People that don't know the Kalahari, there's this massive water park.
Yep.
There's pools everywhere. It's very kid and family friendly. I mean, it's like Disneyland for water parks here. I actually didn't get to that last year. I never even walked over there. Yesterday when I got in, I'm going to go check this thing out. It was wild. I was taking video.
It's massive.
It's huge. It's crazy.
Well, the first year we came here, they explained it to me, and it made sense. The location made sense. And when I got here, I'm looking at it and I'm going, well, one or two things are going to happen. We'll either get kicked out and never invited back, or we'll be here for a while. And when I got here, I'm like, okay, where's the kids? Where are we? The kids are over there and we're over here. I'm like,
the big kids are over here.
Yeah, the big kids are over here. And, because you're walking around and they have all these, displays, and there's, statues, and there's a big elephant statue. And I'm like, okay, there's going to be a SWAT guy sitting on the elephant taking a picture. I mean, I just know, right? I just been around long enough. I know that that's what's going to happen. But the Kalahari's been great to us. We're here for the next 4 or 5 years. So we're here through 2028. And it's good. So Friday after that, we do more vendor show. Then there's I think there's another debrief and a banquet. And then training kicks off Saturday and Sunday.
Full day Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
It really is a cool event. And, I've been communicating with some guys that are sort of coming in. They're like, hey, I was able to get Wednesday off too, so I'm coming in early and whatever. So people are excited about it.
Yeah.
And I was excited to come back this year knowing, kind of how it went last year, and then my experience down at the TTPOA basic SWAT school back in March. I guess it was March then, and just having a little bit better feel of kind of what's going on, and then getting to spend some time with you, man. I mean, at that SWAT school, you did some of the facilitation, and went through the drinking from a fire hose that everybody that goes there has to go through. I think maybe I'm coming at it from a different angle because obviously I'm not a cop, and a lot of that stuff was brand new to me. I'd say in concept, I kind of understood it, but when you start getting into the details of what you're trying to absorb or the things that you need or would need to think about differently, I need to study this part of the law a little differently now. I need to understand this better. Obviously, this equipment, not something I've ever had my hands on before, and I could be called to do that, and I'm going to get some training on it, but dang, there's a lot here, all that kind of stuff. But you were able to facilitate some of that, and I got to be part of that. And in part of that facilitation, there's always you're always trying to get so much done in a short period of time. And so the lots of different officers and from different agencies were part of that facilitation for that week. But you have to give a little bio.
Right.
And I think I think I remember hearing the bio that you'd been actually on the SWAT team there at your agency for almost 30 years.
30 years in May.
So
30 years in May.
To go through a bio in like less than 15 seconds, that's a little rough for me because I love hearing people's stories. So you've been around the block a time or two.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm curious about that. Maybe just catch us up on kind of what I mean, we don't have to go through every shooting and every pursuit and all that, but I'd love to hear just a little bit more detail about kind of how the career path has gone for you and why you're still here for that matter after all this long.
Well, I'm still here because I love it. I like what I'm doing. I'm having fun. I was always, and when I got brought up in law enforcement, it's, hey, when the day comes that you're not having fun anymore, then it's time to go. So I started back in 1992. It's funny now because a lot of the officers like weren't even born, and they make sure they let me know that, which I don't need to know.
Stating me.
Yes, dating, right. So funny story how I got to Garland. I was in the Army at Fort Hood when I graduated from West Point. That was my first duty station, was Fort Hood. So I liked it here in Texas, so I started testing around, tested in Dallas, and then when I was at the test, I was at my future sister. She became my sister-in-law's house. She grew up in Mesquite, so this is really people are gonna be like, what the hell is he talking about? It was a phone book. So I went to the yellow pages and looked under police department. So I was reading them all off, going, hey, what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? And came to Garland. She goes, oh, I think you'd like Garland. It's kind of a bigger city, not too big, but I think you'd like it. I'm like, okay. So I called Garland and said, hey, I've found you in the phone book. I just want to apply. And so they're like, well, our next test is in July, so we'll send you a card in the mail. Put your name down, fill out this card, and then show up to the test. So that's what I did. And then when I went, and it was different back then. Nowadays, it's hard. Recruiting's very difficult. When I went, there was over probably 450 people in the North Garland High School cafeteria. Took the test. Fortunate enough to go to the academy. They hired me early, which was good for me because I needed to get a job. So they hired me early. So my job was working with the personnel lady, and this is another kind of a funny story. So my job was putting general order books together. So I'm in this room, I'm in this conference room, and I'm putting these books together. And they come in, they go, hey, Dan, you gotta go. It's 5 o'clock. I'm like, well, so I'm not done yet. I said, when I get done, I'll go. She kind of walks out, and in comes this assistant chief, and he goes, Daniel? I go, yes, sir. He goes, you got to go. I said, well, sir, I'm not done. I said, when I get done, I'll leave. He goes, you don't understand. If you keep working, I have to pay you overtime. Mm-hmm. And I kind of looked. I go, sir, what is that? He goes, you don't know what that is? I go, sir, I'm in the Army. You worked till you got done. There was no, I don't know what that is. He goes, well, I have to pay you extra. I go, what? He goes, yeah, time and a half. I go, so wait, let me see if I get this right. So if I work past 8 hours, you pay me extra? He goes, yeah, I have to by law. I'm like, wow. I said, I like this place already. It's all right. This overtime thing's pretty cool, I had no idea. So started the academy, got out, was out in field training. And things obviously back then were a lot different. There were no body cameras. We didn't have cameras in the cars. Basically, when I showed up to work, it was, you had your sidearm, it was a Glock. We just switched the Glock. So I had a Glock pistol, one set of handcuffs, and a nightstick. That was it.
Let's actually talk about technology for a second. So so much advancement, obviously, in the last, 30 years, right? So we talk about it that way. But, okay, so there's the basic equipment, but like the things that you didn't have that you're seeing and you've seen evolve so fast. Let's talk about that. Like on the communication side of things, like what were you rolling around with in the car for like radio or comms? So
the radio was I think it was analog at the time. Digital's new now, so it was analog. It was to where back then you keyed up the radio. Now if you key up the radio, they know who it is. It shows like your name. It's your whether it's your handheld or the car radio, they know who you are. Back then, they didn't know who you were. There was no way of telling. You key up the radio, nobody knows who it is. Now, the dispatchers, back then, they could hear your voice. They were really good because they heard your voice. They knew who you were. And there were times if there's like that inflection in your voice, they're like, hey, something's wrong. Okay. He doesn't usually talk like that. We're going to send him a backup, whether you wanted it or not, or whether you needed it or not, just because of the way, your voice was. But everybody didn't have a handheld. So there was a closet by the lineup room. And you would go in, and when you showed up, you'd get a radio, change the battery out. And one day I went in there, and there was different kinds. So there's the big Motorola. It was like this big. It was like a big brick. And then there was other ones, newer ones. I think they were Motorola's as well, but they were different. Or they might have been Kenwoods, but they were different. So you had your radio holder used to be this metal clip, so you'd have to bend the clip depending on
which radio you got for the day.
Right. So one day I showed up early, because you're a rookie, you show up early, went and grabbed a radio, changed the battery, thinking, all right, I got me a handheld, got this tap on the shoulder. Hey, rookie, you don't need that radio. You're expendable. Give that to me. Yes, sir. Here you go. I put a new battery in it for you. And so they ran out of handhelds. So they didn't have one for everybody. So me and a rookie officer, we were riding 2-man, and we were like, what do we do? We don't know what to do because we don't have a handheld. So after the lineup, we kind of raise our hand. Lieutenant's like, what do you need? He goes, sir, we don't know what to do. He goes, what do you mean you don't know what to do? I go, we don't have a handheld. What do we do? He goes, all right, well, something happens. One of you's driving, you stay in the car and try to keep up with the car and talk on the radio, and the other one jumps out, and we'll find you. Like,
good plan.
Good plan. Okay. All right. And, and we're thinking, all right, we got this down. And sure enough, that night, that's exactly what happened. My partner was driving, bail out on these guys breaking in their car, and took off running, going, well, I guess they're going to find me.
I'll find you. I'll see you in a minute.
We'll see you in a minute. So, that's how it was. Shields weren't really a thing. Yeah. Now they're like in every car. Back then, we had shotguns. Now I don't think you'd be hard pressed to find a shotgun in a car. Rifles were definitely not a thing. The radios, they were, depending where you were, you might get reception, you might not. Matter of fact, they still had to do I remember at night they would do the Morse code, KLF, whatever, the station identification thing on the radio. So, it was just, the cars were different. We had of course we had the Crown Vics hadn't come out yet. So we had some Chevys, and then we had I think it was a Ford LTD, and it was a bench seat across the front. And it was like a leather seat, and computers in the cars were new. That was a new thing. We were one of the first agencies to have them. But you could get your calls on them, and you could send messages, but you couldn't do much else with them. Now you can do all kinds of things. Of course, the internet wasn't a thing, where you're attaching, connecting, and sending all your reports and all that. We were handwriting reports. You'd handwrite your reports, you turn them in, and then lieutenant would pick them up, and then there was 2 ladies that would enter them into the system. But, I remember on the bench seats, you had to hold on, you had a seatbelt in, because if you took the turn too far, you'd slide across
over the passenger seat.
Slide over the passenger seat, like holding on the steering wheel. So, things have definitely changed now.
It's interesting. Like I get it. I remember, we're not too far off in terms of the same age, but I remember as a kid, all the things that you said there, even like watching it on TV.
Yep.
That's cinema was a huge deal in terms of what were cops doing. There were the LAPD shows,
yep.
That were on.
Adam 12.
Classic. Yeah, all of them. I started with Hawaii Five-0, and my old man would turn that on. But the point of that is obviously you've seen a lot of things evolve. And I wonder, just policing now versus policing then, and you just went through you covered a lot of history in a short period of time, but policing then versus policing now. So, there's a lot of conversation around things aren't what they used to be. We can't do the job anymore. Our hands are cuffed, things like that. I don't want to make it negative. I think that's a general complaint, not from old guys. It's just, when I say that, people that have been on for 25 years, people that have been on for, let's say 8 to 15, and they've noticed like an evolution here, and they're feeling maybe a little bit more restricted. You've seen huge evolution over time, and I just wonder kind of what your take is on kind of policing now. And when you hear those kinds of things being said, what do you think about that? So
I think part of it is society in general, back when I started, the people, the attitudes were different. They didn't want, we just started a gang unit. And the chiefs, his marching orders were get them out of the city. We don't just get them out of here. So, and that's what the people wanted. The people wanted, they wanted safe neighborhoods. And I think a lot of it depends on your community. Like where I'm at, the people want the police to police. They want the streets cleaned up. They want bad guys in jail. They want to be able to walk down the street or go shopping or not get their car broken into, not get their house broken into. And they expect the police to be aggressive. Other places are not like that. So I think you have to know, kind of know your role. Like, hey, where am I at? Kind of read the room and figure out, hey, what exactly do they want? And now it's different too, because back then, I mean, you had to know how to talk to people. There wasn't a lot of automation. There wasn't, dudes weren't on their phones. I mean, there wasn't that. And now, they don't communicate as well in person just because they communicate on their phones. It's the newer generation. Yep. That's how it is. I mean, like you go downstairs now and you watch all these kids, they're all walking around, on their phone. So you had to learn how to talk to people, and that's a developed skill. I wasn't very good at it when I was new. You're a new guy, you're aggressive. Sometimes instead of de-escalating things, you escalated them. Mm-hmm. And then you learn real quickly, hey, every time I'm doing this, I'm having a scrap with people. And while that's fun when you're young, as you get older, you're like, hey, you know what? If we just kind of talk to these people, things will kind of calm down. And I learned that not only as an officer, but even as a supervisor. Sometimes people just want to vent to you, and you just got to, whether it's on the phone or whatever. As a supervisor, I would just kind of put them on speaker and just listen. And every once in a while I go, yep, yes, sir, yep, okay, And then at the end, they're like, okay, I'm good. And hey, you want me to just talk to the officer? Yeah. Why don't you just talk to him? I don't want to get him in trouble. Same thing, on the street. Hey, they just want to be heard.
Yep.
And if you just let them go and not take it personal, it makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah. So I think the communication piece is a big one. And that one actually has been coming up more. And when I say it's coming up more, it's come up more in conversations I've had, like sort of on the show and off the show, and the importance of being able to kind of relate to somebody and try to get them to relate to you. Right. And what we see so often is things being broadcasted where that didn't happen. Right. Or we saw the end of the video. Right. We didn't see the beginning and how the whole thing got started. So we're talking about like body-worn cameras and now the cell phone footage and things that are out there. It seems like people are like anticipating this is going to get really bad. Right. So whether you're on the giving or receiving end of that, right, as an officer or as somebody that's been, traffic violation, you've been pulled over on the side of the road or whatever, you're almost expecting things to go full tilt. Like, this is going to go red soon. I'm just hanging in there waiting for it's like going to watch a NASCAR race. Like, it's cool watching the cars roll, run around the track and pass one another. But what am I waiting for?
Waiting for the crash.
I'm waiting for it to get crazy out here, whatever that means. I don't know what that is, exactly what it's going to look like. But that's why I can't come to the race, right, is to watch it get nuts at some level. I don't want to see anybody die or whatever. But, if there's a really bad wreck, what am I going to go tell people when I go home? Like, how was the race? Dude, it was this gnarliest wreck.
Well, and the funny thing is about that too is in the wreck, the sponsor gets a lot of airtime because their camera's on them all the time.
This is my point.
Right.
Yeah, this is my point. So it's like this weird feedback mechanism, right, that we see. And so I hear one side, the public saying, like, cops bad. This is what they're doing out there, and they're not being held accountable and whatever else. On the other side of it, I hear cops are being held more accountable than ever, to the extent that they're feeling, quote unquote, handcuffed in terms of doing their job because they can't do the job. Again, this is air quotes, the way they used to be able to do it or whatever. So somewhere there's a breakdown in that communication, but I think in the middle there lies what I was talking about, which is people just expect it to get really bad. Everybody just walking around on pins and needles, waiting to hit, turbo asshole button, right? Whether that's on the law enforcement side or whether that's on the civilian side. And so when I asked the question and you mentioned communication, that's like for me, it's something I've been thinking a lot more about. So on a side, I was a week ago, as my 13-year-old just turned 13, had a junior high school dance, and she asked her mom and I to chaperone it. I don't know why she thinks that's cool. I don't know why she thinks it's cool, but so of course we chaperone the dance, and it's not my first rodeo there. Actually, she'd asked us to do that before, and it's interesting, like talking to the kids and watching them even interact and watching them interact with the teachers that are on campus. A lot of ladies, there was like 2 guys rolling around in there. But my point is this: there is something. It's the same. Like the teachers that are there, you know, are expecting the kids to screw up,
right?
And there's not like this, and the kids are just wild. They're going nuts. The music's playing. You're feeding them pizza and snow cones, for God's sakes. What do you expect them to do? Whatever. And it's like there's this tension that's always there. I wonder, and I just wonder, do you think the tension level is higher now than maybe was 10, 15 years ago because of things like technology, body-worn cameras, cell phone footage?
Yeah. So I kind of compare it to something I read back when they were talking about cameras in wartime. So like World War II, you had the photographers, and they would take pictures, but it wasn't like live. Like they didn't know, people didn't really know like what was going on. Like,
yeah, they're trying to fill in the gaps.
Right. They didn't see war, like the ugliness of warfare. And then Vietnam, you have these guys in there, and now you're seeing it. And now you have, Desert Storm, all these other conflicts. You have embedded photography, so you're seeing it. And it's like, well, people didn't realize the ugliness, and they didn't want to know the ugliness.
How the sausage was made.
Right. Like, yeah, they didn't want to know. It was like, hey, we want you to take care of business. Same thing, I think, with policing. Hey, we want you to police. We don't really want to know like how it's happening. We just want it to happen. And I think now they're more on edge because of certain past incidents. I mean, there's just a myriad of
you go through a list.
There's a ton of them that, before it, maybe not so much. Now you do something and it's like you said, everything's on video, right? I mean, we have people, for God's sakes, there's somebody hurt, and instead of trying to help them, they got their phone, right? Because I'm going to sell this video or do whatever. And people, well, I'm videoing you. Well, good. I'm videoing you too. I got a body camera. So who really?
The quote unquote auditors.
Right. The auditors. Right. Or even just people on the, well, I'm making sure you do whatever. I'm like, okay, well, I'm recording it too. And I'm recording you. Oh, well, I don't want you to record me. Well, why not? What's the big, it's okay. What's good for the goose, Right. So I think there's always that, the everything's on video. Everybody's seeing everything. And you're always on edge of like, are they going to misinterpret what happened and turn it into something that it's not? Because that's happened. Tons of incidents where that's happened. And it's now everything is about the video. Let's see the video. Let's see the video. And now I will tell you, there's been several officers that have been saved by the video. People are try to complain on them, say they did something they didn't do. Here's the video, and we're done, which is good. But I think there's a little more edge now because everything's on video, right? And I can watch it, you can watch it, somebody else can watch it.
All have our own interpretation.
All have our own interpretation. And then you brought up a great point of, well, what part of the video are you seeing? Well, you see the end of it. Well, okay, you didn't see what led up to that or anything in the middle. You see what I want you to see, which is not right. And I would say, hey, watch the whole video. Let's see the whole thing because it matters. The context matters. And I'll say there's, people, well, all the cops are bad. Oh, no, they're not. There's bad lawyers, there's bad doctors, there's bad electricians, there's bad plumbers. I mean, but just because you have one bad one doesn't mean they're all bad. And do guys do dumb stuff? Sure they do. And do they do it on video? Yeah, all the time. But you know what? A lot of other people do dumb stuff too. But it's just, I think it's magnified when it's in law enforcement because it goes, like you say, it goes viral, right? And everybody sees it. But again, are you seeing the whole thing? Are you just seeing parts of it?
I think that's a bigger piece of it too, man, is what you're seeing and then how much of it you're seeing, like at what point in time is this coming in? And it's going back to like those junior high kids and feeding them pizza and snow cones. Like what you are doing is you are fueling the animals.
Yes.
These are filthy little animals, these junior high school kids, right? And they're going to be running. Boys are going to be boys and girls are going to be girls. And you're playing music and you put them in this environment where they can wear what they want and run around and do whatever. Like, this is what you're going to get. And you've fueled that. So I wonder, like, have we, there has been increased accountability at a lot of levels with body-worn camera footage on the law enforcement side. It's certainly been more accountability on the civilian side too, or those that are complaining or filing complaints or things like that. Like, did this really happen? And if so, when? But how that information gets shown and fed, I think, is absolutely fueling the fire at a lot of levels. I don't know if that's a good thing. You know, there's the Freedom of Information Act, and anybody can get any video, but that's what I have a problem with is you're getting that video, and then you are taking it to a professional editor in some cases to cut it down, chop it up, leave pieces out, put other things in, slow things down at certain points, speed things up at others, add sound effects, like add music, add voiceover, add whatever. At the end of the day, it isn't the video.
Right.
It's some concoction of whatever the mainstream media or the guy behind the Instagram page, whatever else, decided he wanted to show you. And when it didn't get the attention that he or they thought it was going to get or should get, then they changed the headline or they changed the video or they just to make it that much more sensational, that much more spectacular. That to me is super dangerous. And in that sense, I'm not sure if all of the body-worn camera footage and all that stuff out there has been really that helpful as it is hurtful. I think you have to take both sides, but you have to look at it from both sides. But sometimes I just sit back and go, this fire has been fueled by this stuff.
And some of it goes back to communication. In my experience, law enforcement in general has been very bad about putting out information. Right? They've been very close hold. In the past, it didn't really matter because, you know, they'd say, well, it's an ongoing investigation. We can't comment right now, right? They're not putting out anything, but there was no video. Well, one of the classes I went to, leadership class, ILEA, we had a PIO class, Public Information Officer class. And this lady that taught it was very experienced, was really good. And she said something to me she said something in the class that I've always remembered. She goes, if when something happens, you need to put out something. Doesn't have to be detailed, but you have to put out something. Because if you don't, somebody else will. Mm-hmm. And then when they put it out and you try to refute it, they're going to say, well, you're lying. Because if you weren't lying, you'd have put it out. So I think it's more helpful now if you can just put out something, right? Like, hey, we're looking at this. We're getting the videos. We're collecting whatever. We'll put it out whenever. Because if you don't, what happens is, all these other people get their edited videos. It's all, this is what happened. And then it becomes this
fire that you can't put out.
Right. Because now if I come and go, well, don't look at Scott's video. That's not the video. And they're going to go, well, no, he put his out.
Where's your video?
Where's your video?
Right.
Oh, your video is different. Oh, you edited. I mean, and you're having to answer questions that you shouldn't have to answer when if you just kind of get in front of it a little bit and you don't have to. Doesn't have to be a whole lot of information. Like, hey, this is ongoing. We're collecting all of the evidence and all of the videos, and we're scouring the neighborhood for witnesses and getting it. So we're trying to give you a complete picture. But this is what we have right now, and we're going to get back to you.
I'm with you 100% on that.
That would probably calm the storm just a little bit.
I good because the media train is going to run away with whatever they want.
Yes, they will, and they do.
I'm with you. You have to say something, but if you don't have all the information, then tell them that.
Right.
Just tell them tell them the truth.
Right.
Right. And give them what you can within reason, and then actually fulfill that.
Right.
Right. Because these investigations can go on for months, years. Right.
Right.
And what happened? Right. At this point, cities have already been burned down over stuff that didn't happen.
Exactly.
In some cases, or happened much differently than the way it was portrayed. So this brings up kind of another interesting thing, and that would be like on the training side, recruitment, hiring, training, and like pipelines of things, as an officer's going through their career and so forth. And you're in an interesting position. And I don't know that I've had anybody on that's actually been in this position. And that is, number one, you have tons of experience and you've been at the same agency for the entirety of your career, right? So that's unique, I think, in a lot of levels. Secondly, you're holding the rank of lieutenant, and so that means you're stacked between the rank and file guys, right, and the senior administrative guys.
Best place to be.
Well, best place to be. So I want to hear that. I want to hear about that because I don't think I ever have talked to anybody like that. Certainly not on air that's been in that spot that can talk about the up and down kind of communication, because you're smack dab in the middle. And I think, and I'm going to set the stage here, when going back to hearing officers say or make certain complaints, or even the outside, the third parties saying, like, we have a problem with leadership, we have a problem with our administration, and they don't see it. There are in between pathways. actually, I did talk to commanders up in Washington. His name is Eric Tung. He's awesome, by the way. He's kind of right in the middle there. And we had a really good conversation about this, just like you have to have a finger on the pulse of what's going on in both places. And, you know, you mentioned a term earlier, like reading the room. Like, how do I read the room, make sure I communicate things the right way, the right direction, this way, and maybe a different direction that way. And then I have some other questions about how, like, this where influences have come in with how we're training officers now and training admin at the same time. So tell me why it's the best place in the world to be, because I think a lot of people would go, this guy's got to be nuts.
No, it's when I first started and wanted to be on SWAT, when I first got on, I always thought a team leader was the best position in the police department. And I thought, I still believe, a SWAT team leader is more difficult than being a street lieutenant. It just is. You have a lot of things, a lot of responsibilities, very similar responsibilities, but it was the best job I ever had. But I knew when I was a team leader, like I still had the ear, but I didn't have as much influence or juice, right?
The authority.
I couldn't, right? They were going to listen, but they still, hey, you're just still a silver badge. So I promoted. And one of the reasons why guys don't promote is because when they promote, they got to get off the team. Mm-hmm. So we had to go to timeout. I had to go to timeout. I call it timeout period. So I was in the timeout period for a short period of time. One of the other senior lieutenants retired. He got off so I could get on. But the funny story about that was I was the guy that was always procuring stuff. So when you get off the team, it's like, hey, you're not on the team anymore. So, you know, that SWAT business, you're not in it anymore. So they would come, hey, I go, hey, listen, I'm not, I wasn't being a jerk about it. I was just like, hey, listen, I'm not on the team. I can't, interject with that. But here's the guy. So after like 15 times of hey, we need him back because we can't call the people he knows, right? We don't have those connections. So that was part of it. But then he kind of groomed me for the spot. And so I got it. To me, I was a lieutenant in the Army. I got out as a captain. So kind of a learning experience for me there was our commander made us eat in the mess hall. And he waived the surcharge because officers had to pay surcharge to eat in the mess hall. But the food was really good. So I always made friends with all the cook guys and all those people because you treat everybody, with respect. So one day I go in there to eat and it was lunch, so I wanted like rice and potatoes, and I was really good friends with the mess sergeant, the head guy, and this specialist was like, "Sir, I can't give you 2 starches." I'm like, "What are you, my mother?" I go, "Can I get it?" Sergeant, just give the lieutenant, whatever. I go, "Thank you." So I went and I sat down. Well, I sat down in the middle of the mess hall with where all the troops were, not where the officers were in the side room. And this one other lieutenant comes, he goes, "How come aren't you going to go sit with the colonel?" I'm like, "Me and the colonel have nothing in common. He doesn't want to talk to me, and I don't really want to talk to him. Now, if he comes to me and says, 'Hey, Dan, come sit with me, I need to talk to you,' then I will go in there and I'll sit." I said, "But if you want to know what's going on, you'll sit out here because these guys are going to talk in front of you. They don't care." And I learned a valuable lesson. If you want to know what's going on, you go to the lowest ranking guy because he's got nobody to protect, and he's going to tell you how it is. So I always kind of remembered that. And as a lieutenant, when I promoted late. I was almost 15, 16 years in. So I was a very senior guy on the shift. I knew, at that time before I got promoted, I was the quartermaster. So I knew about purchasing. I knew about grants. I knew about all that stuff. That was probably the best job I ever had was the quartermaster because I learned so much about the admin side of where's the money? How do we get it?
The money part.
The money part. And the money part is huge. And I tell people all the time.
There's politics in that too.
100% there's politics. The thing about the money is, and all you guys out there listen to this, pay attention because this is like gospel. The money is there. It's always there, right? There's cash cow places, there's stash places within the entire organization. It's there because if you came tomorrow and said, "Hey, sir, our guns are broken. We need guns right now," they're going to find you the money. The problem is, where is it? Who can get to it? And will they give it to you? That's the 3 things. It's always there. So you got to know somebody who knows where it is and is willing to give it to you. So that's where the making friends part comes in with the purchasing people and and as the quartermaster, I knew all I had all the accounts for everybody. I knew where all the money was. One day they came because I had the largest non-discretionary budget in the police department. So I had pretty much carte blanche to order whatever because I didn't have to, non-discretionary. So one day the chief comes to me and goes, "Hey, I need you to keep an $8,000 cushion." I go, "Well, what's up, sir?" He goes, "You're buying a dog." I'm like, "Got it. Buying a canine." Gotcha. Whatever. So it's coming out of the quartermaster. The quartermaster doesn't buy dogs, but guess what? That's one of the, I learned pretty quick. Okay. I'm one of the cash cow. I'm one of that. I'm that spot, right? Break glass in case of emergency. But I promoted late but I had a lot of experience. So I felt to relate to the officers because everything they did or were doing, I'd already done. And I would tell them, like one of the problems we had one day was an issue was milking calls, right? Like we go to a call and you want to go eat. So you say, "Hey, don't clear me. I'm going to hang out on this call while I go to my restaurant. I go eat." Right. And that frowned upon, right? Because you're screwing your buddies over. So
it's also falsification of timekeeping.
Right. So, I would tell the guys, "Listen, I'm telling you now, don't do it. And I know that as soon as you leave here, you're going to do it." I said, "But just know that if you do, I can't help you." I said, "And whatever you do, don't put it on it." Because they were sending these, like they'd send a CAD message. I go, "Don't type it on the CAD and send it to your buddy. Hey, leave me on this call while I go eat." I go, "That's dumb."
Don't document.
Don't document. You're right. What you're doing. Yeah. So I think I could relate to them. And for me, it was, even complaints, I would tell guys, "Listen, my job is to help you as much as I can." I said, "We are going to put as much lipstick on the pig as we can, but at the end of the day, it's still a pig. So I just need you to be honest with me. If you messed it up, just tell me, hey, look, we fucked this up, and we'll put as much lipstick on it as we can, but it's still a pig." Mm-hmm. In that mid-range lieutenant spot, you're still kind of with the officers, but you're still kind of an admin guy. So you're kind of, like you said, you're kind of playing, you're in the middle. And there's a lot of different, and the politics are different. The politics with dealing with the guys are different than the politics with dealing with the admin is. And I tell the guys, "Listen, my job is to shield you from the BS, right? I need you to focus on what you're doing, not on what they're doing." And they would, I would provide guys, like they would bitch about, they're making us do this. And I'm like, okay, well, here's why. Here's this, right? I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying this is why you're doing whatever. And some of the things, like I help kind of with the association guys. They'll ask for certain things. And it's funny. One of the things one time was hats. Well, you're issued a hat, right? It's like the Adam 12 hat, the little bus driver hat. Well, they were trying to get cowboy hats. Well, the chief didn't like that. He didn't like hats. He certainly didn't like baseball hats. Really wasn't a fan of the cowboy hats. And they're like, "Well, we're going to, we think this is one of our deals." I'm like, "Man, listen, I don't think that's not the hill to die on."
Yeah.
I go, there are so many other issues that you should be fighting for. That's not one of them, because here's what you need to be careful of from the admin side. The chief's going to go, "You want a hat? You already got a hat. So guess what? Now you're going to wear your hat all the time, every time you get out of the car." Like, "Well, you think you do?" "Yeah, I do think he'll do that, because that's what I would do if I was tired. If I told you, stop."
You're just bitching about
right,
it.
You're just bitching about it. But on the SWAT side, especially, I still get to go do stuff. I get to go on ops. I get to, every once in a while they let me play. Most of the time they make me sit in the Bearcat and, play the announcement or do whatever. but they let me go. I get to go. People are like, "Were you going to take the captain's test?" I'm like, "No," because they all sit behind desks and I can't do that. And they're all miserable, or they look miserable. They're not, so
it's not what you signed up for.
Right. Now, what I can't do that job, and I would be miserable. And when it first came out, I told my wife, "Yeah, I think I'm going to test for," she goes, "Why?" I go, "I don't," she goes, "You're going to be miserable. You're not going to be able to do SWAT stuff. You're not going to be able to do TTPOA stuff. You're going to be miserable. And I'm not putting up with that." I'm like, and the money's it wasn't a thing, because you're doing other side stuff. It's all working itself out with overtime and other things. And I'm like, "You know what? You're right. It's not, it's not worth it. It's not worth the headache. So but there's a delicate balance because the admin people view things differently, and they send their message. You got to try to translate it for the guys, and when the guys have a gripe, you got to try to tune it up a little bit so you can, okay, listen, I get it, but we need to church this up a little bit for admin, because you can't make it look, and unfortunately sometimes you got to make it like it's their idea, which is I don't care.
It is what it is.
Right, yeah. It is what it is. I don't need it to be my idea. It could be your idea. But I've been around for a while, so I have enough experience to where I'm getting asked my opinion about things from admin people and from officers. So I like that spot. I like to be there because of all and the entire administration of the police department, I think there's an upper admin. There's only like 2 of them that have been here longer than me. So, I mean, I've been, I remember it's funny because, I don't say you have the dirt, but hey, listen, I remember, when you were an officer, you were doing these same things that you're yelling at this guy for. Did you forget that, because I didn't. I remember because I was there, and I think that's important. I think now we have a lot of guys, they promote early, and they don't have as much experience. And so now we're hiring lateral. Again, it goes back to, we're hiring these lateral officers who have experience. So now you got a guy who's got more experience than his boss, and it's sometimes it causes some friction. But they learn. But I learned on nights when I got promoted. It was me and one other lieutenant on nights sometimes, and you're it. I mean, you're brand new. You're less than 6 months as a lieutenant, and guess what? You're running the city. I mean, there's nobody to call. You're not calling the captain at 2:00 in the morning. And go, hey sir, what do I do? I mean, they're paying you to do that. Right. That's what they pay you to do. So,
so it's so interesting. Now I'm just kind of listening to you. As I was listening to you talk, a few things rang out for me. First off, you mentioned the position that you held as the quartermaster and being able to acquisition stuff.
Yep.
Right. So
that's my specialty.
So it just brought me back to the SWAT school and some of the things that I heard you say there. But like you said, the money is there if you know where to go, who's got it, and how to get it from them. And you had told or given some examples, at the school to the officers that were there about how to have these conversations. But this goes back to the communication thing, right? Understanding a few things on how the system works, how to play the system, and how to navigate through it. And so what that provided you was some autonomy to be able to do the things that you needed to do. And it didn't matter how you got it done as long as you got it done, right? Like there's right and left parameters, there's things you can and can't do. But you just tell me who's got the stuff and I will figure this out.
Yes.
So, and you earn that.
Right. I like to say, I can make you an omelet, but I'm going to break some eggs.
Yeah.
And my favorite saying that I have, that even I have my chiefs now, is I got a guy. I have a guy. I have a lot of contacts. And if I don't know somebody else, I know somebody who does know. So, and now it's before anybody goes to buy. Like we had a guy, he was, one of our JTTF guys was going to buy a vest, and of course, it's the difference between knowing the system, right? So he goes to his assistant, hey, I need to get this vest, and this is what it costs. And his first question was, did you talk to Dan? And he's like, well, no, I didn't. No, not yet. He goes, go talk to him. So he tells me, I go, hey, sir. I go, what? I look at the price and I go, okay, look, that's Gentile pricing. We're not paying that. We don't pay that. I know. Just let me do it. So I get it done. Of course, it's nowhere near what he was going to pay. He got what he wanted. We got a deal. He goes, where'd you? I go, hey, doesn't matter. Don't ask. Just
yeah, exactly.
I'm my captain now is like, look, I don't even ask. I just sign the deal. So it's, I have a guy. When like plate carriers was a deal for patrol, our chief wanted us, he asked me, hey, what should we get? I said, well, here's your choices. Here's your options. This is they ended up getting level 4 plates because he wanted the highest level of protection. Okay. I go, but they're going to be heavy. I said, but if somebody's shooting at me with a rifle, it's only going to be for a short period of time. I'm not really that worried about it. So we ordered them. And I said, okay, sir, do you want partial shipments? He goes, you just handle it. I'm like, okay. I said, my only request to you is you don't tell your chief buddies what we're paying, because they're not going to pay the same thing you are, because we know people. And And that's how, and that's how it works. And that's kind of my thing is, look, tell me how much do we have? Tell me how many you want, and just
I'll take care of it.
I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. I'll come close.
So again, that comes back to the autonomy, right? That you're given, but you got it because you earned it. Like by doing the right thing. But you also got it because, again, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth here. You got it because you found out how to solve the problem.
Right.
There wasn't I'm bitching and moaning, this dude can't solve the problem, or we need this and we can't get that and it's somebody else's fault. You got yourself into positions that allowed you to help solve those problems.
Yes.
And ultimately 100%. Now you're right in the middle of that. And I think, again, with also the communication piece, the up versus the down, if you said, what you said was, I'm here to insulate you or to protect you from what's going on over here. Not protect, but I think the term you said was insulate. Like, you got admin here and you got rank and file down here. You guys everybody has a job to do. Right. I understand what those jobs are. I don't want that job, right? Like that admin, that next level admin job, because I see what they're doing, but I know what I need to do in order to make them happy, or not necessarily make them happy, because sometimes I'm going to break some eggs. Yep. Right. But at the same time, to keep them off in on track with the things that they need to do, which is helpful for them while keeping these guys on track. Like, it's like kind of playing that big brother, kind of in the middle at some level. And you have to want to do that. But it also comes with that experience. You referencing the military experience and, the sitting at the different breakfast tables or whatever, or chow hall tables. I think people say, when I say people, I hear a lot of law enforcement complain that the upper staff or administration / leadership, wherever that falls in for them, doesn't understand what they do. Yep. And
that's our fault.
I agree with you.
Our fault, 100%.
I agree.
Again, I went to one of the city's leadership classes, and where you're with other high-level people throughout the city, different managers. And I was fortunate enough, accidentally, meet at the time, he's the assistant city manager. And we're just, I'm just, BSing with everybody. And he goes, "Oh, you're over the SWAT team." I'm like, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Man, I bet that's cool." He goes, "Oh yeah." I said, "It's the coolest job ever." And he's like, "Well, I'd like to come out sometime." I go, you're the boss. You can come out whenever you want. Just let me know, make it happen. So he would come out to training. Of course, that set up like, admin's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm my leadership, my leadership, I almost gave out where I'm at, but, hey, he's in my class. You told me to go network. So I networked, and we're buddies, and he's going to come to SWAT training. And they're like, "Oh my God, the city manager's coming to training." I'm like, "Wait, why
are you so afraid of this?"
Right. This
is the thing.
This is the thing, right? So I learned about like getting stuff. Budget, more about budget. Like, hey, and there's this budget surplus. I'm like, "Well, what is this budget surplus you speak of, sir?" Right. And he told me, and I'm like, "Well, that's a great idea." So that's how we ended up getting our PEC 15s, because you couldn't use grant money, so we had to find another source. Well, he helped me find another source, and he told me something that has stuck with me, and I've used it because it was great advice. He's like, when you order these things, city council and all these people, even some admin people, they see PEC 15. They have no idea what PEC 15 is. They don't know. They don't know what it does. They don't know. They know how much it is because they see what you're asking, but they have no idea what it does. So we took him out because we had one for T&E. I go, "Hey, let me show you what this thing does." So we took him out to the range. We put nods on him. Gave him a rifle with the laser, and he's like, "Oh man, this is the coolest thing ever."
Right.
And then
Star Wars, man.
Star Wars, yeah. And so after that, he goes, "This is good." So back up a little bit. We had an exercise for the COG did this exercise. It was called the Big X. So one of our city council people is on the committee. He's the one who signed the deal for any grant money. So during the exercise, for whatever reason, he didn't get embedded with us. If I'd have known, I'd have finagled it to where he was with us. But after he does this, he comes, we have this meeting, kind of a debrief about the exercise. And he looks at me and the bomb lieutenant and goes, "Okay, I want a briefing from you and you about grant stuff, what you're using, what you have, and the exercise. He goes, and I don't want the chief to do it because he doesn't know. You guys know. I'm like, yes, sir. So, of course, I tell her, but hey, Councilman so-and-so wants this. Is what, wow. When are you talking to him? I'm like, at the meeting, sir, that you were supposed to be at, that you weren't at. That, but he's, you know, he wants, well, when is this? I go, I don't know. He's going to tell me. And when he does, I'll let you know. So we set it up. We set up this big dog and pony show. We got displays. We got like, here's grant items. Here's budget items. Here's donated stuff. Here's all these things. And the whole city council comes. So, but of course, I notified everybody, hey, listen, they're coming. So you might want to send somebody out here because otherwise, you know, lowly Lieutenant Colasanto is going to be out here with with city council. Well, they don't show up, just me. So I'm like, okay, well, because it was SWAT anyway, but none of the upper people came out.
Yep.
So they all showed up. I gave them a little brief, hey, here's my budget. And, you know, he goes, this one councilman goes, Lieutenant, you asking us for money? I said, sir, I'm not asking you for anything. I said, I'm just telling you, you need to have perspective of what my budget is, because when I show you these things, you'll understand why I ask for money when I ask for grant money or when I ask for this. So just kind of keeping it in perspective, just so you know. So we went around. Here's grant items. The thing about grant items, great, people pay for them. However, you have to pay for the maintenance, upkeep, whatever. So it's great. I bought this robot. I bought this widget. Well, when the widget breaks, you got to pay for it to get fixed. Grant money's not going to do that. Here's my budget. Well, my budget goes towards clothing, equipment, munitions, uniforms for everybody on the team. So that takes a big chunk depending on, you know, how you do that. And then here's donated stuff. Well, how do we get donated stuff? I go, people donate us money because they like us, and we use it for whatever to fill in the gaps.
Because they like you,
because
which
they
is
like
an important aspect.
Right, they like us. And so we take them around. We set up a demo. We do like an explosive breach demo. We do a night vision demo so they can see these things. Hey, this is what we are asking for. This is why we need it. This is whatever. And so at the end of it, this one councilman comes up to me. He goes, Lieutenant, it looks like you can use some money. Yes, sir. He goes, how much do you need? And first time in my life, I was caught up like, what? and he goes, I'm like, he goes, $50,000. I go, sir, $50,000 would be very helpful.
Yes, please.
Yes, it'd be very helpful. It was okay. So they get back in. Thank you for the demo, whatever. Guys did a great job. It's funny because before we set up this demo, I actually called a retired tier 1 guy. I go, hey, you've done a lot of demos. What should we do? He goes, well, keep it real simple because they're not going to know. They're going to think it's cool. I said, well, this is what we're going to do, like explosive porthole and a door. He goes, oh, perfect. Just real easy. So when the deal's over, the assistant city manager, who I'm in that class with, comes up to me. He goes, what did he say? He goes, sir, he said 50,000. He goes, ask for half. I go, I need 26. He goes, nope, that's perfect. I was like, okay. So I get it. Of course, now it trickles down to the admin. What are you doing? What do you, how? I'm like, sir, he asked me for, and this is kind of a testament to my captain. He goes, sir, this guy asked Dan if he needed money. You think he's going to tell him no? Right. He offered to give him $50,000. You think he's going to tell him no?
Right.
He goes, okay, good point. I'm like, and it's not your money. So that's the best money to use is somebody else's.
Right.
So, but I learned, hey, they don't know. It's like the story I told in the SWAT school about the gas mask thing. These people, they don't know, right? It's not their, I mean, when they were on the team before, what they used on the team and what you have now on the team is not the same. The equipment's not the same. So when you tell them, hey, sir, we need this widget. Well, you know what? Why don't you come to training?
Yeah.
And I'll show you the widget.
Stick them in the Connex box with gas so they can't see fast their hand in front
of their face. Exactly.
Yeah. See how they like it.
Or, hey,
the old one.
This is right.
Here's what we're asking for.
Here's what we're asking for.
I'll be back in 5.
Yep. So, I mean, and that goes for everything like robots, Bearcats. You know, why do we need it? Well, this is what we have, you know, and this is what we need. Before we had the Bearcat, we had an old bank armored car that we up armored with some AR-500 steel, and the air conditioning went out. So we had no air conditioning. So when we were doing Citizen Police Academy demos, I would tell the guys, hey, put the Citizens Police Academy in the bank car and drive them around.
At 1 in the afternoon when it's 95 outside.
And they were like, well, why do we have this? I go, well, it's because it's what we have. You know, it was donated. It was free. Because I met a guy from Armored Transport, and he was from New Jersey, and we hit it off because I was from New York. So, you know, he's like, hey, I got one for you in Dallas. So we went and got it. Well, isn't there something else? I go, and of course I had it teed up. I had my buddy, one of my guys. I go, show him the picture. Oh, yes, ma'am. We were trying to get one of these. It's called a Bearcat. Really? And she goes to the head guy. Do we get to talk to the chief? He goes, oh, yes. At the end of the thing, he goes, okay, good. Because my SWAT, why do my SWAT guys have to ride around in this thing with no air conditioning? They need one of these. I'm like, okay, very good. So that was, and they would come out to the Citizens Police Academy. People would come out to training, city manager. Then he became the city manager, and he still came out to training. He would come out whenever he wanted to. Hey, if you want to come out, we're doing something cool today. We're doing this. We have a helicopter coming out. You want to ride in the helicopter? You want to do this? You want to do that?
Smart.
And he was really, he ate it up. He loved it. I mean, we let him participate. So, but they don't know what you have. We had the chief come out one time, the chief and one of the assistants, and he's like, well, I didn't even know that you have all this stuff. I don't know. How do you keep up with it? I'm like, sir, it ain't easy, but this is it. And so we actually put him in a room. And we did the porthole, explosive breach porthole, and explosive breach on a door while he's in the room. I still have the video. And I said, look, this isn't something we do all the time. I said, but in the event that we do need to use it, it's going to be a critical thing that we use it. And I really am not going to have time to explain to you what it is that we're doing. So now So if I say, hey, look, we're going to do a porthole and explosive breach on this door, the whole building's not going to explode and catch on fire, and we're not going to have this disaster. And it was an eye opener. And I told them, I go, my job is to make sure that if you come to us and say, I need you to do this, that we can do it. I said, I'll tell you up front right now, we don't do water. We're not responsible for the water. We have a lake near us, but it's Dallas's responsibility. I said, but if you tell me right now that I need to be responsible for water ops, then I'm going to say, okay, but I'm going to need some equipment. I'm going to need some training just so we're good. We do a horrible job. And that's why I tell those guys in the class, hey man, invite your admin out. Especially if you need something, let them use what you're using and say, this is what we're using right now. We would rather have this.
So I've heard a little bit of this too before. And I think the knee jerk reaction is, oh, we've invited admin and they never come. Well, that doesn't mean you can't keep inviting them.
Right.
Just keep putting out the invitation.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
So that's been my experience. And sometimes you got to be really annoying, and sometimes might mean ruffling some feathers, breaking some eggs, pissing some people off, whatever it is. I'm not saying do anything unprofessional that would get you fired or in a lot of trouble, but ruffling feathers sometimes gets that oil right on that wheel, and that can be the answer to it. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to do their job, but you just walk through a ton of examples that include you understanding how it works. And the way you learned that was inviting people out, being in the right room, going to things, or being in situations that other leadership wasn't there for, or maybe you didn't necessarily even have to be there. You were just there to get the inside knowledge on. I think that's, there is not a playbook, that tells you how to do all of this stuff. And so nobody's going to be there to tell you, this is what needs to be done. This is the exact form you fill out to get your thing and it goes smooth every time, because that's just not the case.
No.
So again, after, 30 plus years, you're, having navigated through all this stuff, what I'm hearing you say is most of it's about relationship building.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. We do a lot of going to the Bearcat. So, we got a Bearcat. And the first time we used it was at our 4th of July event. Prior to that, we weren't even involved. SWAT wasn't even out there. So this one year, it was right after the Boston bombing. She's like, well, we want to do more. I'm like, well, I don't know what more is because we've never been invited. So, so we parked the Bearcat, and they said, well, you're going to hide in this building in the air conditioning. I'm like, okay, cool. So we're in this building. Bearcat's blocking a street. One of my guys said, hey, just keep an eye on it, whatever. So he's out there, and all of a sudden, all these kids are just all over it. And he calls me, hey, sir, you need to come out here. I'm like, I'm thinking, oh my God, somebody just ran into it, I go, what's the matter? He goes, the kids, they're all, I'm like, open the doors, let them, we got nothing in there,
it's
right?
Like the Marvel movies.
Right, yeah, just let them go ever. So they were going.
They're not going to hurt it.
Right, they're not going to hurt it, right. In the back door, in the turret, out the front. In the back door, out the turret, out the front. I mean, and there's a line of them. And so the manager of the mall had said, hey, we want you hiding. I'm like, okay. So then.
Because that's not good.
Right,
it's not good for business.
So then all
Optics
of a sudden
are bad.
we get this radio call, or until we get the call. Hey, where's the SWAT team at? I'm like, we're hiding in the building. Like you said, we're at this. Okay. Cause my grandson wants to come sit on the Bearcat. I'm like, oh, imagine that. Now you want, right, whatever. So one of our captains is there and he's kind of shaking his head. And I'm like, what's the matter, sir? He goes, I don't understand it. I go, what don't you understand? He goes, I don't understand how you, like, we have all these other displays and all this stuff, but you guys are the most. I go, how could you not understand that? I go, we're the cool guys. We got the cool guns, the cool equipment. We got the cool armored jungle gym. I said, and here's the thing that you don't understand. I go, these guys would, I mean, given the choice, they would probably not want to have to hang out and babysit the kids jumping on the Bearcat. I said, but what you don't get is they could go from right here, right now, run over to where they need to because something bad's happening, shoot the terrorists in the face, wipe the blood off, come back here and get back in line and do this again like nothing ever happened. I said, everybody wants to hang out with us because we're the cool. They have the cool stuff. They relate to it. Like, you know, we were the Call of Duty boys, you know, whatever. I said, they like us. I said, and to me, you should use this as a community relations tool, leverage it because you should embrace it. And we go to schools all the time for career day. We go to all kinds. I mean, they're always, it's funny because now they always ask for the Bearcat. It goes everywhere. And that's one of the things, you know, it's like tell the guy, because it's kind of a beating, you know, they do a good job. There's a lot of them. A lot of these community events. I'm like, listen, this is where you make the relationships.
This is where you get your PEC 15s.
Right. This is where you get your PEC 15s, right? Because you're helping out the Citizens Police Academy. You're helping out these schools. So when we need a school for training, guess what? They're going to call, hey, yes, absolutely. We love you guys. Come on out. Do whatever you need to do. We need this. We need that. I mean, we've done raids before in an apartment complex. We hit the place. Everything's secure. And then all the kids come out and it started like a block party. So we took a video. I'm like, see, this is what it's about right here. I mean, everybody knew this guy was a bad guy. They were afraid of him because he's dealing drugs in their little courtyard apartment complex. And we went in, took care of that guy, got him out, and everybody came out and played. I'm like, this is what the job is about. I mean, it's when the community backs you, and it also inoculates them to the Bearcat. Because now when they see it, it's not a big deal. It's hey, yeah, that's the thing we climb on. We took cool pictures. Yeah. Right, it's cool guys. And they're probably going to take care of business somewhere, but you know, hey, it's cool.
We know those guys.
Right. We know those guys. And it makes a difference.
Yeah, I think that was something that I picked up just in being around the crew for that week and how the relationships get built, but how different that is in so many other places. I mean, that certainly wouldn't fly in the city that I live in. Right. Because the optics are bad. Like it looks too militaristic or whatever else. And people get upset by that. We're having a conversation like, again, this is a very family friendly environment, and I saw you downstairs when I got here and you're wearing your gun, looking like a professional, got your badge on it and whatever else. But it didn't dawn on me till after we were talking about the optics and having to tell guys, hey guys, don't go walking through the lobby in full kit with your rifles hanging and everything else. Put them in a bag, put them in a case. It didn't dawn on me that would be weird for somebody else to see. Right. And that it would make them uncomfortable. Not me, but I understand it. Obviously, I understand people, I understand the community, I understand culture and society and where we're at right now. But again, the inoculation or the more exposure, but it goes beyond that. It's not just about doing a little PR thing for the kids. It's how that trickles down or up, in this case, to parents whose mom is on the PTA, who's also on goes to the city council meetings, who knows the wife of the city council person or the mayor. You never know. Who's out, doing mimosas and whatever, shopping on Saturdays and, whatever else, and how that trickles up or trickles down, the opportunities that exist there. It's interesting.
A SWAT t-shirt, a SWAT hat, and a coin go a long way towards just building relationships. And it's not just with the community, it's with the other agencies, because you need to be able to, and I'll tell guys, when we had our terrorist attack, I made a phone call, right? And I tell guys, listen, you need to have somebody in another agency when you got an event going on that you can pick up the phone and just go, hey, I need you here right now, right? Obviously, you give them a heads up. We have this event coming, but you have to be able to do that, because there's not going to be time to I need to send a formal email because it's probably going to be on the weekend. Nobody's going to be there anyway. I'm sending an email. I got to do this request. I mean, you need to have that ability to do that. And you don't get that by just being in your own little shell.
Or letting somebody else do it.
Right. You have to have those relationships with other cities. And the TTPOA is a great conduit for that, because guys are here and we tell them, hey, while you're here, network with everybody. You may think, you may be from North Texas somewhere and you think, man, I'm not going to need any help in Laredo, when guess what? One of your bad guys goes and they go to Laredo and you go, hey man, I had a guy in my class from Laredo. Let me pick up the phone and call, whatever. And it's happened so many times throughout my career. We actually had a guy, he was a suspect, went to Dubai. And they're like, well, I think he's in Dubai. I'm like, hey, I got a guy. She's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, I'm not. They go to Dubai for there's a SWAT competition, and a bunch of my guys go. I know a guy. He goes, really? I'm like, yeah. You want me to call him? So I call is Buck Rogers. Hey, you got your connection out there? I got this guy. We think he's out there. Can you give me a name for this detective? And sure enough, there it is now, whether they got the guy or not. But it's if you don't have those relationships, then that thing doesn't even happen. So
yeah, circling it all the way back to TTPOA. This is this is unique in the sense that I think there's a lot of other tactical police officer associations out there, and I have not been to another conference, so I don't know. So I'm just a dude who's been to this one, but from talking to a lot of people, a lot of dudes that have been to a lot of these conferences in a lot of places. This one seems to be a little bit unique, which is why I was excited. One of the reasons I was so excited to come back and put it on my calendar right away. And so when you talk about it the way you just put it together there, we joked a little bit at the beginning about like, oh God, the guys are going to be riding that bronze elephant downstairs and we're going to get kicked out of here or whatever else. There is it's joking aside, there is that piece of it, putting that piece together, and that is bringing the thing together and the people together. And they recognize, this is what I recognize, certainly at the banquet, that there's a strong sense of this is bigger than me, and I'm part of something that's bigger than me, and everybody contributes at some level, whether you know it or not. So you can either choose to contribute in the ways we've kind of been talking about, like build those relationships, do the PR deal, deal with the kids jumping up and down off the Bearcat, like go to the community events, talk to the quote unquote slimy city council person that you think you hate. You're going to have a business relationship with them at some point. That relationship impacts you. It impacts your community, and very immediately, that within the team or in your department or your agency, your shift, whatever, and then obviously the community around you. I need you to do that as a civilian, as a community guy, because I've had conversations with people of authority or people in power or whatnot. I have to tell you, I understand how frustrating that is. How I walk away, shake my head, have to bite my lip, have to put on a different hat to have that conversation. I have been there several times, and it's not an easy thing to do. But if you want to get stuff done, I also can tell you that then put me in touch with other people. So now I have a guy or a gal, somewhere where I can call and go, hey, I'm having this issue, or I don't know, what do you know about this? Like, there's this stuff I'm hearing, this rumblings, these things that are going on. What can you tell me? I just want to show up, do your job, do a good job. There's always should be doing that. But the communications piece, the relationship building piece, and what that gives you in terms of autonomy to get the job done the way you need to get it done. And when something bad happens, as long as you've been doing the thing with that integrity and with that honesty and transparency and having those conversations, it gets you a long freaking way, right? Yeah. So that breaking that egg or ruffling those feathers, whoever's feathers or egg that might have been, puts you in a much better position to come out the other side. People can give you that benefit of the doubt and go, I just, like you said, Chief, just signs now.
Right.
When it hits my desk, it's like, I know Dan's getting us the best deal with the best equipment he possibly can. I'm going to sign off for whoever. That's the kind of relationship I always wanted with my senior leadership too, in the past. And
the relationships, I mean, you bring up a good point. It goes to the community. So I'm helping these people out. I'm building relationships. So that when something happens, when a critical incident happens, and the community, some portions of the community might want to be in an uproar, it's these people you made the relationships with. They go, hey, let's just wait a minute. And it's happened a bunch of times throughout my career. Like, hey, hold on a second. Let's not jump to conclusions. Let's see. Let's get all the facts. Mm-hmm. Let's get all the video. Let's get all the information before we start going off on this because a lot of times, and this will be a shocker, right? They don't have all the information. They have parts of it. And then certain people want to go jump on the bandwagon, and they realize, then the truth comes out there, like, now they look stupid. Right. And that goes for our guys too, right? You're going to get an uproar about some incident that you think, hey, well, he didn't do, this is my favorite. He didn't do anything wrong. Okay. Well, you know what? Who told you that? Well, they, I'm like, who's they?
Right.
Who's they? Were they even there? Whoever they is, and then you go to find out, well, it wasn't exactly like you said. Then that's why, like I tell these guys, listen, before you go into admin and you're going to ask for something, you better have all your ducks in a row. You better have what you need, why you need it, how much, how much are we going to have to spend? Is there something else that we can get instead of this? Because that's the questions they're going to ask, and you need to be prepared.
Right.
But you need all the information, and whether you're trying to help one of your buddies who may or may not be in trouble, where you think, well, this is BS. I'm like, well, is it? Mm-hmm. And maybe it is, but then again, maybe it's not, because sometimes they don't want to get all the facts because they get partial information as well. And it's your job to make sure they get all the information before they start. It's like you said, it's that delicate balance between, okay, hey, but I found you need to have all the information before you start drawing your line in the sand.
So give it to them. Is what you're saying. Give it to them. Make sure they have it.
Right.
Don't be awful at not giving them the information. But I guess the ultimate compliment there would be, we see stuff happening where something happens. There's an incident, and somebody gets hurt, somebody dies, something, and the first thing we hear about the victim or the suspect, whatever picture we're painting here, is that this person was the pillar of the community.
Right.
These were all the great things that this young man did for his community or whatever, and how just the sweetest boy or whatever, yet they're in this situation. And we find out later that maybe all that wasn't really true. The ultimate compliment would be getting that same type of publicity for the officer that might be involved in that and go, now you guys got this one wrong. This dude, was the pillar of the community. Look at all the things. I remember when he was out here, he did this, he did that, or whatever. Somehow I don't see that as being a reality. But the point I'm making is you should try and do everything to get that to happen.
And you get those advocates through building relationships.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you want somebody out there to know who you are. So tell them, and that's okay to do, as long as you're not, obviously there's probably good ways and bad ways.
And there's lots of people out there that support us and want to help
100%.
and want to do stuff. I mean,
100%.
we have a citizen. He owns a company. We had our SWAT facility in a warehouse. The warehouse got sold, so we moved to another warehouse. And this guy was letting us use this warehouse for free. We were in it. It was old Sears warehouse. We started in one, we got kicked. Somebody bought it. So we moved to another one. They let us use it. When Sears went out of business, they sold it to this guy. Well, one day we're training up in the building, and this guy walks in, just t-shirt and I see him, and I'm about to go, hey, what the hell are you doing here? What do you want? And my little voice told me, hey, no, be nice. So I'm like, hey, sir, can I help you? Oh yeah, are you on the building? I'm like, no, and not me. I said, but here's the guy. This is the guy. Whatever. He said, oh, okay. I said, well, hey, if you want to come hang out, we're the SWAT team. We're doing some training. You're more than welcome to hang out. He goes, oh man, I'd love to, but I gotta go do whatever. I'm like, okay. Didn't think anything of it. Just thought he was just another buyer. Well, fast forward, he is the guy who bought it. He bought the building. And so when Sears got kicked out, when they went bankrupt. And they turned over the keys, they asked this guy, which I didn't know was the guy at the time, but then I found out later. He goes, hey, what do you want to do about the SWAT team? They're in the building. He goes, oh, those guys? Oh, no, they stay. Love those guys. Very respectful, very nice. They're up in the upper floor there. They stay. Matter of fact, if anybody wants to lease the building, the stipulation is the SWAT team stays. If they don't like it, they're not leasing the building. And he owns both. So when they sold it, we left that one, went into the other one. It was a Sears parts building. We were in there, then that got sold. And this other gentleman who owns a business in Garland, he says, hey, you can store your stuff in my warehouse. It's right down the road. Okay. So we moved again. So, and Mike, we've moved like 6 times this whole conglomeration of plywood walls and movable walls and all this other stuff. So we move into this one warehouse. He goes, well, you can build it here. He goes, but we're going to, we lease it. So I'm like, well, we don't want to do that. He goes, listen, he goes, I have my warehouse. It's a family owned, it's been in our family since the 1950s. We're not going anywhere. You can let me move some stuff and we're moving there. So he moved stuff in his warehouse for us to move in there. So we finally, and just doesn't charge us. Even the other guy never charged us, never just, no electricity, didn't charge for the water, just let us do it. Because when he showed up one day, we were nice and said, hey, you invited him to come watch training. And he loved us and let us pretty much do whatever we wanted in that building. Same thing with this guy now. He just, hey, you could build it. We'll let you, here's how you get in. And we love to have you guys. And there's a lot of those people. You just got to find them.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And you never, so I hear this said quite frequently, and that is, every interaction that you get to have with somebody in whatever profession you're in, but this one specifically is law enforcement, is you get to change somebody's mind about their perception one way or another. Right? That could be either very bad or very good. But to that point, there are a lot of people that are very supportive, me included, of law enforcement, very pro law enforcement. They want to help. Got to give them an opportunity sometimes. And sometimes it's just being, having that conversation, or again, not, hey, sir, what the hell are you doing here? It's, hey, sir, how can I help you today? Is the difference between you getting free rent and in a location, right? Or kicked out. Or getting kicked out, and he calls all his buddies and tells them what dicks you are.
Right. Absolutely.
That own other properties. Anyhow. Listen, man, every minute we spend here, we're getting a little bit closer to that show, and it's coming up, and I'm excited for all the things that are going to be happening this week. I know I'm going to see you around. I mean, you're running around with your hair on fire starting probably in the next half an hour. And I know you're going to be super busy. And so with that, I just want to thank you for taking the time out early,
absolutely. This is
time
awesome.
to sit down and chat with me and kind of give me insights. Again, I love the perspective with all the years of experience. Again, the position you're holding now, I think, is an interesting one. And I guess president of the TTPOA, right? Still on the team, still involved with the team. Doing the things that you're doing at the department now, involved in the training process, involved in the SWAT school, just hands and fingers in kind of all the things that you possibly can. And to me, it really seems like you're having fun, and you said, you're not, you won't do it anymore. I don't know how many more years you got of this in you, but I think the TTPOA is lucky to have you.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best, not just through this week, but into the future. If there's anything I can do for you, just let me know. Man.
Awesome.
I don't know what that would be, but
well, you never know.
Exactly.
You never know.
This is my point. So I appreciate the conversation today.
Absolutely.
Man.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. I really enjoyed this, man.
It was good. I'm glad.
It was a good
fun.
time. Yeah, I'm sure there's other things. I'm going to walk away from this and probably have other questions for you, because now I got a guy.
That's it.
They can answer them. So.
If I can't answer them, I have somebody who can.
Right.
So.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you.